everybody. Is this working? Can everyone hear me? I hope so. Yikes. Okay. Whatever. Okay. This is a video for the Montreal Children's Hospital, and hold on. There, that's better. Montreal Children's Hospital, and I'm raising money for kids with cancer, and it's really, really important. So my challenge to myself on the Do What You Like-a-thon for kids with cancer is to read as much as I can between now, well, I started a few days ago, and it's till May 7, which I think is a deadline for raising money for the Do What You Like-a-thon for the Montreal Children's. But I'm not sure if that's the actual deadline. So let's get started. The first story is by Jean Little, and unfortunately she died this year, 2020, on April 6th, and it was really, really sad, and I'm extremely sad about that because her and her family mean a lot to me, really, really a lot, and so, yeah. I'm gonna read in her honor 2 stories that she picked out to give to me through her niece, Robin. And she's really, really a sweet person. And the first story, let's get started, is A Present for Miss Potten. And this is it. A Present for Miss Potten, and by Jean Little, and that's the cover of her story. And it says on the front, Story and Quick Sketches by Jean Little, sketches fixed and finished by Pat DeVries, which is her sister. Sorry. And it says Stone Crop Press, Elora, Ontario, 1994. Okay, here we go. And it says in the front of the story, this story is for Brian Little, who did take a Christmas tree to his teacher, and for Chris and Robin, who insisted on being part of the story. Awesome. Okay. Christmas was coming in just 10 days. Chris and Brian and Robin Little could hardly wait. I want to give my teacher a present, said Brian. You stay home, said Chris. She's like that. How about cookies? Mom said. She likes my cookies. And that's the picture. There's little Robin and Chris. No, that's Chris. And that's Brian. And that's Mom. Okay. No, said Brian. It has to be from me. And it has to be truly magnificent. Dad and Mom smiled. Chris and Robin lounged. No. Laughed. You're too little, Robin said. I'm not, said Brian. You wait and see. Line up, children, Miss Potton said the next day. It's our turn to go and see the big Christmas tree in the library. The tree had lights and tinsel. It had gold balls and a star on the very top. It smelled like a forest. And here's the pictures. The class gazed up at the tall tree. How magnificent! I wish it were ours, said Brian's teacher. Me too, everyone said. Brian smiled. Now he knew what Miss Potton wanted. He would get her a Christmas tree somehow. I need a Christmas tree, Brian told his family that night. A real one. No real trees allowed, Dad said. It's a co-op rule. Ours looks real, said Mom. I like it. You liked it last year, Brian. What's wrong with it? It doesn't smell real, Brian said. And here's the pictures. Where do you get real ones? You buy them at the tree lot, Dad told him. or cut them down, said Chris. Chop, chop, boom, Robin said. Brian shook his pig bank. 1 dime fell out. Would just 1 dime be enough? Don't know what that word is. He did not know. He put on his snowsuit and boots. He walked to a tree lot. He held out his dime to the tree man. Is 1 dime enough or something for a tree? He asked. Here's the pictures. That's him looking in his bank and Robin saying, chop, chop, boom. The man shook his head. Sorry, son, he said. Real trees cost real money. Brian went home. He could not buy a tree for his teacher, but he would get her one somehow. He would. He would. Brian got his toy axe. He went up the hill behind the co-op. He did not see any big trees there. He only saw little ones. He stopped to look at them. You are too small, he told them. Miss Potton wants a big one. Go on growing, little trees. And here's the pictures. Okay. He walked on. He looked and looked. It was late. He was tired. He kept looking anyway. At last, he found a beautiful one in front of a big house. You are big enough. Wait a minute. That could be enough. Enough. You are big enough, he told it. You smell like a forest. Miss Potton will love you. Yay! Brian swung his toy axe at it. The axe broke. The head flew off. It left no mark on the tree. Brian went for Chris's axe. It was bigger. He tried again. Chris's axe broke too. Brian sat down on the snow. He fought and fought, but he could not think of any other way to get a tree for Miss Potton. He wanted to cry. Aww. And here's the pictures. And that's him wanting to cry. Poor dude. Okay. A van drove up. A tree stuck out of it. Brian jumped up and went to look at the tree. It was big. It was beautiful. It smelled like a forest. A man got out and smiled at Brian. "How do you like our tree?" he said. "I like it a lot," Brian told him. "I need one just like it." "Come by on Monday," the man said. "We got the tree for our Christmas party, but we're going south on Sunday. After the party, we'll throw out this tree. You can help yourself." "Wowee! Thanks a lot," Brian said. And that's the pictures. Brian flew home. On Monday, he'd take the tree to his teacher. It would be a magnificent present. It would be from him. He could hardly wait. All weekend, he kept watch. He saw them put lights and balls and tinsel on his tree. They put a star on the top. On Monday morning, Brian ran all the way to the big house. The tree lay by the road. The star was gone. So were the lights and gold balls. But it still smelled like a forest. Brian took hold of the trunk. He tugged. He pulled. He pulled. He tugged. The tree did not move. Here's the picture. Brian almost gave up. Then he thought of Miss Potton. She wanted a tree so much. He ran to the co-op. He got Josh and Chico and Sarah and Amy. I need you, he told Chris. Robin came too. Brian dragged the kids to the tree. Robin's eyes got big. Chop, chop, boom, she said. No, listen, Brian said. He told them what the man had said. Okay, let's go, said Chris. They all tugged and pulled. They pulled and tugged. The tree moved a little. Then it began to slide over the snow. Way to go, yelled Brian. Here's a picture. They pulled the tree across the park. They started to pull it across the street. Cars stopped for them. It's sure heavy, puffed Chris, but he kept pulling. They got to the school at last. Brian stood by his tree. Sarah ran for Miss Potton. Don't say why, Brian told Sarah. Everyone waited. At last, they heard Miss Potton coming. What is it, Sarah? She was saying. I'm very buzzy. And here's the pictures. Then she saw all the children, and she saw the big tree. Oh my, said Brian's teacher. Brian found it for you, said Chris. I'll take Robin home now. The janitor carried the tree to Miss Potton's room. One side was a mess. They stood it in the corner so the best side showed. Are you surprised? Are you surprised, Miss Potton? Chico asked. I am, Miss Potton said. Then she took a deep breath. It smells like a forest. And here's the pictures. It needs lights, said Brian, and tinsel, and a star on top. Then let's get busy, said his teacher. The class made beautiful things for the tree. They brought things from home too. The janitor brought a string of lights. Brian made the star. Miss Potton stood on a chair. She put his star on the very top. Then she got down and gazed at the tree. I don't know how you did it, Brian, she said. Brian felt he might burst. But he had not done it alone. A man let me have it, he said. Then everyone helped. Yep. And there's pictures. His teacher laughed. Got it. Brian Little, she said, you are like this tree. Brian stared at Miss Potton. Me? Like a tree? He asked. How? Your best side is showing, his teacher told him, and you are magnificent. Yay! And here's the pictures. And that is the end of this story. And I love this story so much. And believe it or not, this is the third time I've read this story because the first time Photo Booth wasn't recording at all. And then the second time, when it was recording, it didn't record any sound. It was just me talking without my voice. And then this is the final time that's hopefully gonna work. Now, the second story, The Boy Who Didn't Believe in Christmas. Story by Jean Little and pictures by Jennifer Garrett. Copyright 2010, Pinnacle Press, Guelph, Ontario. And this is the cover. And see, it says love, kiss, hug, kiss, Jean Little. And that's her autograph. And it also says up here, Robin and Catherine, me. Robin is her niece, who I'm very special friends with. So that's Jean Little's little writing right there. Okay, let's get started on this one. What was the point of Christmas if you didn't get what you wanted? They got him stuff, of course, books, a computer game which helped you make cartoons, a big mug with his name on it. Wowee! It was getting that dumb mug and hearing his mother blather on about how she had to shop for stocking stuffers that were the last straws. Why bother hanging up stockings? Sorry for my hair. Oh well. Why bother hanging up stockings for Santa to fill when everybody knew his mother got the small presents and she and Dad stuffed the stockings after he was in bed? It was dumb. Ignoring his mother's sorrowful gaze, he gobbled his toast and went to get dressed. It was a school day. He thought they should declare it a snow day, but he knew they would not. As soon as he had shoved his homework into his backpack, he put on his jacket and headed into the wintry morning. The thought of being shut inside a overheated classroom, watching the snow falling on the other side of the tall blank windows was dismal. When he had been yonder and still believed in Christmas, their teachers had decorated the classroom with snowmen and holly wreaths. But now they were supposed to be too old for such things, he supposed, and the undecorated windows matched the empty darkness inside him. Jing-a-jing, jing-a-jing, a voice sang. Luke spun around and grinned at the little girl in the wheelchair. Her name was Polly Charles, and she was one of his favorite people in all the world. She was being pushed by her grandfather, and she was bundled up to the eyes in clothes to keep out the cold. Hi, Mr. Charles, Luke said. Hi, Polly. He waited for her head to turn slowly toward him and said, Hi, again once their eyes met. Jing-a-jing, Polly sang proudly. Luke squatted down next to her. Then he sang Jingle Bells softly, making each word sound out clearly. She tried to clap, but her arms were swaddled in wool, and she had to nod her head instead. The tassel on her knitted cap bobbed up and down with each jerk of her head and made them all laugh. And that's a little picture at the top. It's snowing, Polly, he said. Then he scooped up a few flakes and held them close to her warm cheek. She wanted to see her eyes light up, but she just gazed at him and nodded her head up and down again to make the tassel bounce some more. One thing was for sure, Christmas meant nothing special to Polly. The Sunday school had given her a doll and a bag of candies the year before, but she couldn't play with a doll, and her grandfather was afraid she would choke on one of the hard toffees. His mother had bought her a sweater, he remembered, but clothes weren't what kids Polly's age longed for. Somebody should figure out the right present for her, he thought. But what? You haven't time to hang around dreaming of a white Christmas, boy, Polly's grandfather told him. If you don't get a move on, you'll be late. I'll make it, Luke said, but I'm not dreaming about Christmas. I don't believe in it anymore. Nonsense, the old man said, pulling his coat tighter around himself and taking hold of the wheelchair handles again. Glancing down, Luke saw that he wore no gloves and his fingers were red with cold. So long, Paul, he called to the child and began to race down the sidewalk. He could not keep his mind on schoolwork that morning. Over and over, his thoughts returned to Mr. Charles's cold hands and thin coat. When his thoughts returned to Polly, Luke racked his brain for a present he could give her that she would care about. Even though her laugh was loud and a bit hoarse, it was real in a way Elspeth's wasn't. It held such delight in the bobbing tassel and the one word she had learned to sing. Then his class went to assembly for a presentation about saving water. He knew it mattered, but he hardly listened. Once the teacher's helper brought Justin in, he gave up completely on the subject of water and watched Justin. The teacher had never explained what was wrong with the boy, but Luke's mother had told him. She worked with Justin's mother at the shop. Justin was autistic.